Hello, my name is Jennifer Hancock, and I am going to be talking today about why humanists are so fond of science. In this video, I'm going to discuss what science is and isn't, why humanists care so much about science, people who reject science, and how humanists can help to encourage science education and science understanding. The reason this is such an important topic is because many anti-science people like to claim that science shouldn't be taught in our schools because teaching science teaches humanism. Obviously, this claim is ludicrous, as no one group owns science. That isn't to say humanists don't like science. We love science. It's just that we aren't the only ones. Many people of many different faiths embrace the methodology of science as a way to learn objective truths about the world. In fact, when science is embraced by religion, it's usually because people are looking for ways to better understand God. The theory is that the more you understand how God's creation really works, and not how you believe it works, the better you come to understanding God. Regardless of the reasons for embracing science, what science looks for and provides is objective truths. We can define science as a methodical approach to the acquisition of knowledge. The important word that distinguishes how a scientist learns from how other people learn about the world is methodical. Because science is methodical, it helps us acquire objective rather than subjective knowledge. Science is not the knowledge gained through this approach. Knowledge can be gained through a variety of ways, but only science acquires knowledge methodically. It requires logic and skepticism in good measure. Most people define science by its methods, specifically the scientific method. The scientific method is usually described as the following process: observation, thesis, prediction, test, and review. In observation, you observe some phenomenon and decide you want to learn more about it. With thesis, you make an educated guess as to why and or how that observed phenomenon occurs. With prediction, you make a prediction about what will happen if your thesis is correct, and then you test. You need to test to see if your prediction is accurate. Don't forget review. Based on the results of your test, you might strengthen your thesis, adjust your thesis, or revise or reject your thesis entirely. The above method is what most people think of when talking about science. The simple fact is we humans haven't invented a better method for acquiring objective knowledge. Why humanists care so much about science? Reason number one. Science is a powerful process for improving our understanding of the universe. We humans simply haven't come up with a better methodology for objectively learning about the world. At the moment, science is all we have if we want to know what is really going on. Reason number two. Free thought is at the core of science. Scientific knowledge is created by people who are capable of viewing at least some of their current beliefs as beliefs that might possibly be improved. This leads to new combinations of ideas and skills. It is not a particular type of reasoning, but rather flexibility of thinking that's required whenever science makes real progress in some area. Reason number three. Science is creative. The truly neat thing about science is that it's not just skeptical and methodical. It's also open to surprises. With science, you must be willing to change your mind. Science as a process really encapsulates what being a humanist is all about. It's about learning new things, about thinking in new ways. It's about improving ourselves and our lives. And best of all, it's also a creative process. What's not to like? Bertrand Russell once said that in order to really understand anything, one has to be able to live with an unfinished worldview. That unfinished worldview makes a lot of people uncomfortable. People who ask only for simplistic answers, yes or no, and who seek for complete certainties also tend to distrust science, because science never delivers simple or certain answers. For example, scientists don't know if smoking causes cancer. All they can admit to is that there's a high correlation between people who smoke and those who get cancer. Another source of science-related angst is the fact that the knowledge derived from science keeps changing. And to a pro-science person, this is wonderfully exciting. But to the many people who dislike change, this is horrible. Especially when you consider what happens when this new knowledge contradicts previously held beliefs, like religious beliefs. There are lots of groups that are anti-science, and this list is certainly not exhaustive. Religionists. There are people that are concerned that science leads to atheism, and while that's not true, they're concerned about it, and so they are anti-science. There's a lot of pseudoscience buffs that don't like science, and these are the people who don't like the objective and methodical requirements of science, as their beliefs don't stand up to its scrutiny. Con artists really don't like science. These are the people whose livelihoods are affected by the spread of knowledge and critical thinking. Obviously, there are many others that you can add to this list. Humanism promotes reason and compassion in action. Science literacy is the key to reason, both as a methodology and as a way of thinking. We need accurate information about the problems that confront us if we are to solve them. We need to think critically about possible solutions to ensure that the ones we choose will actually work and not cause additional harm. In a democracy, everyone ought to be familiar with the scientific mode of thinking so we can replace belief by analysis. To understand scientific arguments, to get a fair perception of risks, and to balance the consequences of alternative decisions, it's critical we are scientifically literate. Humanists like science because it provides a template for a way of thinking that helps us make better decisions, and that's why humanists are so fond of science.